Hey everyone, welcome back to the Integrity Project. My name is Roy Cocciollo. I'm your host here today, and today I have a guest, a good friend of mine that we've over the years have built quite an interesting relationship. So I'm going to try to give you a an intro that is worthy of you.
Oh,
Shall I?
please.
My guest today is Clyde Bryant, CEO and founder of Uptown, with more than 20 years of experience in finance, lending, and business leadership. Clyde has built a reputation for integrity, mentorship, and helping others achieve their goals. As a husband, father, entrepreneur, and respected industry leader, we'll explore the lessons he's learned about balancing business success, family dynamics, and a life of purpose.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Clyde. Thank you
Thank you.
for being here.
Listen, what I would say is before we even get started, yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, eh?
Yeah.
And it took a minute to organize things, but now that I'm here, I'm starstruck a little bit
Oh,
because
thanks, man.
I'll give you the credit that you're due. I listen to the podcast and I love the guests that you bring on.
Thank you.
So when you asked me to come and sit down, I said of course, and I hope to do justice to what you're doing here today.
Clyde, and the thing is, like, everybody has kind of a different kind of purpose when they come onto my podcast. And I think that as we got to know each other over the years, I have so much respect for you as a family man, as an entrepreneur, and as just a all around great human being. You always have a smile on your face. You're always happy. You have a great sense of humor. And honestly, you're probably one of the only people I know that doesn't make life feel heavy.
Well, I try not to.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that. I mean, whether life gets heavy or not, you definitely
Yeah.
have a way of making it a little bit lighter. So I really appreciate that about you. So even when I'm kind of in a weird mood and I talk to you, it always seems to lighten me up. So I just want to say thank you for shining that on the world.
Thank you.
So when you hear the word family, what does that mean to you today, and how has that definition evolved throughout your life?
Well, when I hear the word family today, it's much different than how I would have, perceived that at a younger age. Today, family's about protecting, serving, being responsible for, and most importantly, showing up for the people that you love. And as a young business person, salesperson, leader, you know, I didn't fully respect the word. And now it's so different. Family, family's everything. And when I was younger, you take it for granted because you're focused on building, you're focused on everything else that you shouldn't be focused on. And you do it, or maybe I was focused on everything else because I thought that I was building it for the family. And later on, you realized it's all about family. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it there.
You have two boys.
3 boys.
Three, I know, but you have two boys leaving you have 3 boys.
Yes.
Yes, I know. But you have two boys that are getting ready
Oh, yeah.
to go on a really cool adventure
Yeah.
and a journey to Portugal to play soccer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that you're so proud of this, but yet at the same time, you're so torn.
Yeah.
And you
Like
get so emotional.
can you see?
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about
Yeah.
if that was my kid. Like, my kids are all grown and they're out of the house, but like, first of all, what an honor it is to watch your kids do and experience something like that. Like, incredible. And that just also shows the character that you had to build your kids to get to that level. So that's completely amazing. How does how do you feel about that? I know a lot of us, we're proud of one moment, but like, truly, how do you deal with the emotions of, like, I'm so proud, but I'm so sad?
Yeah, and I know we talked about this, off the air like long time ago or a few weeks ago, I should say. But honestly, you said it. I'm ecstatic. I'm as proud can be, and I would scream it from the hilltops. But at the same time, my boys are my life, and I literally do everything I do for them. And so the thought of them not being there in the morning when I wake up and, I sneakily open up their door and I peek at them while they're sleeping, not to disturb them, but just to take in those memories. Or at night where, I always, every night, regardless of what time I get home, I walk into their room, I give them a kiss on their forehead, and I walk out. And to think about not having those moments, that's what pulls on the heartstrings. Um, but yeah, like you said, it's been a long journey, and they deserve the opportunity, and I'm happy and I'm blessed to be giving them this opportunity. And yeah, it's not easy though, right? And forget about me. They talk about my wife is a whole different story,
Yeah, of course.
but for me, it's been a journey, and it still is. And
Yeah.
I can tell you, and I was talking to Eddie about this a few days ago. I got to figure out how to work, part in Canada, part in Portugal, because I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay away.
And you know what? And a question for you, and then I always ask about how you feel, but how do your boys feel about it?
Oof. Well, because I'm me and everybody knows I'm a little bit of a joker. So, about a month, maybe 2 months ago, we're sitting at the dinner table and I turned around and I said to them, you don't got to go, right? And they looked at me, they're like, go where, dad? Because we completely out of the blue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Portugal, like you don't got to go. Like you can stay here, you can work for dad, you can go to school in the States because they had options, right?
Right.
So, they were looking at going to play soccer in the States or football in the States and, go and do the school route, the traditional life and come back and find a job or come and work for the business because why else am I building this thing, right? And they looked at me like I had five heads. Like, and I literally remember Nathan, my oldest, he looked at me and he's like, I already started packing. So needless to say, they're excited. We've been working on this for a number of years. And because we've been going through this now, this is year 4, where we've been going to Portugal 3 times a year, working with the scouts, working with the teams to try to make sure that this thing happened. It's a natural transition at this point. So for them, the nerves are kind of gone outside of, I can imagine, their first game, which I'm obviously going to be there for. And I'm saying to the family, yeah, hey, whoever wants to come, we're going to make it happen. Because if it's all Bryants and Alonzis, which is my wife's maiden name,
Yeah.
that are filling the stands, we're going to do it. But yeah, we're going to make sure that they get the experience that they really they deserve.
We were talking yesterday. You said something really, really interesting to me. And I think a lot of people probably feel this way, that the day you walked into your youngest room and he's 15 years old,
Oof.
and, all the work that and all those providing you did, and you saw that he became like this young man now. He's no longer like a small child.
Yeah.
Um, Talk a little bit about, not gonna say regret because we don't necessarily have regrets, but like talk about how that made you feel at the time, because time passes so quickly.
Yeah.
And when we think it's so important today, we don't realize how important it is, those little moments that we have with our son or our daughter when they're little.
Yeah. Like that was a defining moment in my life. There's a few moments in my life where I will say literally altered the path of what I was doing. And that is one of them. So what I was saying to you was, Julian, my youngest, he was, or pardon me, let me reverse back. This goes back to probably 3 or 4 years ago. No, maybe even, yeah, about 4 years ago. And, I had made the decision to, sell my shares in my former brokerage and start Uptown. And, when I made that decision, I went heads down in the business. And that's all I was focused on. Admittedly, it was all I was focused on. And because that was all I was focused on, I honestly probably went, I don't know if it was 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. I went into a hole. And when I came up, I remember walking into Julian's room like I did every other night, except the nights previous, for the months previous that had passed, I wasn't paying attention. I was just going through the motions of walking to the room, give him a kiss, and walk out, because it's robotic, it's automatic. But this night, I stopped and I looked at him, and he wasn't small anymore. I was staring at this young man, and I'm going to try not to get emotional, because I realized that everything that I was working for and everything that I was building caused me to miss those months where he's grown. And I stared at him for I don't even know how long, taking it in, because I realized then that if I've missed that much of his life for the business, to build the business, then it's not worth it. And I changed. Literally, that moment, I made a promise to myself. I made a promise to my family that they don't even know about. And I also made a promise to God, because I'm a firm believer in, God provides. And if we're wise enough, we will receive. And so I made the decision at that point in time to change the way I was going about business, to change the way I was going to go about my day to day, and reprioritize the things that were important, really important to me. And that's why I never miss a game. And when I say never, I literally mean never. We will drive from Aurora to Oakville to Niagara to wherever it is to make sure that we watch them play. I very seldomly miss practice because, again, it's where they are. My kids are on the soccer field all the time, 7 days a week. So I want to be where they are. And, family dinners, they're hard when you're trying to run, all the businesses and doing the things that you do. But we make a point that once a week during the week, which for us is usually Wednesday night, we make sure that everybody sits down at the dinner table, no phones, no discussions about anything outside of what's going on with you. And of course, we call it, you're Italian, Sugo Sunday. That's a non-negotiable, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have your Sugo Sunday. You sit down, everybody's there. And those are the things now that I really look forward to. And they're the things that help drive my days. So I'm not going to say it was a regret, because if I didn't go heads down, would I be here today? Maybe not. But I would definitely say I reprioritize things.
And it's so hard, right? Because as entrepreneurs, we have a certain amount of ambition within us. We have, we want to provide our families the best life we possibly can provide them with. And I know because one of my biggest regrets in my whole business career was getting a cell phone. And you're like, well, what? I mean, everyone's got a cell phone. Listen, in 1998, you didn't have they were bricks. We didn't have cell phones. Like, we'd have smartphones. We were getting a BlackBerry, and I would be there, but I wasn't there. Like, I was, remember one day I broke down and cried the fact that I have no recollection of anything that my kids did.
Yeah.
And I was involved. I was a dance dad. I built props for them. I went to every recital, rehearsal. I'm the one who took my kids to dance from the time they were 3 till the time they were 17. But I was always somewhere else because I was so busy trying to provide for my family.
Yep.
I kind of want that back.
Yes,
and
please.
You can't.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So the question is how important is that next deal?
Yeah.
How important is, or even be able to tell a client, look, I'm at my daughter's recital right now. Is it okay if I get back to you tomorrow?
And why are we afraid to do that?
What's
wrong with it?
I think that some of us come from such a place of lack.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, God provides. And the funny thing is now that I'm in my late 50s, I feel like a really strong calling to get back to God. My parents are super religious, and
Yeah.
to the point where I was like, oh my God, can we stop talking about God? Right? Like that. That's all my dad taught me.
Yeah.
And my dad's always, oh, God bless you, and we love you and all that kind of stuff. But there's something clicks after a bit, and it's
Yeah.
just like there's something more to life than what we're doing.
Definitely. Let's and
Like we can have a different
yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
about. But so while we're here, like, how important is God in your household, and like how does it shape your family dynamic?
Yeah. I mean,
Like your
like,
wife's Italian, so she's very Catholic.
yeah, so yes, my wife is Italian. We're both raised in traditional Catholic households, right? Funny enough, I was originally wasn't Catholic. I was Christian, but not Catholic. We converted. Why? We converted because I needed to get into the school that was down the road. Hey, right? There's the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but religion was always part of my life. Growing up, every Sunday was mass. You didn't have a choice. You got dressed. You had to do what you got to do. And we're walking down the road to go to Sunday mass. And, like you said, as I kind of got older, in my teenage years, I'll be honest, I got away from God,
Of course.
right? I was focused on other things. I was focused on, how much do I got to make? I was focused on the girls. I was focused on the material things that you chase as a young adult because, well, I mean, that's what's cool, right? So I stopped listening to God. I stopped listening to the voice that I knew was there and I still heard saying, hey, remember me? And because I stopped listening, and I stopped listening for a long time, eventually, God has a weird way of making sure that you remember. And so for me, he reminded me because, and I know I shared this with you in passing, but it was a regular day where I was riding to work. And I say riding because I was on my motorcycle. And, I was just being the cool guy heading to Bay Street on my bike because life is good. Life, of course, is good. But when was the last time you've been to church? When was the last time you checked in with your family? When was the last time you seen your mother? When was the last time you seen your father? When was the last time? Hey, wake up. There's bigger things in life than money. And he reminded me very quickly because in a split second, I hit sand, I was launched off my bike, and I hit a fire hydrant. How I am still sitting here today, there's only one answer. Because when I was launched off the bike and I was heading towards the fire hydrant, I was heading there face first. And through the grace of God, I don't know how, I was able to turn my body and I sacrificed my legs and I hit the fire hydrant and I passed out. I don't know how long I was sitting there. I woke up with a stranger on top of me saying, "Are you alive?" And being the joker I am, I said, "I think so." And, I closed my eyes again after that. I woke up again in the ambulance and, what's going on here? My wife is screaming down the road because they got a hold of her. And I looked around and what just happened? I was heading to Bay Street. I was, going to produce some presentation that doesn't matter because. And now life is going to change. How? I don't know. I'm no longer in control. I was never in control. But life changed because the next time I opened my eyes, I was in the hospital in the waiting area, and I looked around and I saw my wife, and I remember her coming to me and saying something, and she had to sign something, and I was out again. And the next time I woke up, I was laying in a bed from the waist down. Good luck. Didn't know what was going on. And it turned out I broke both femurs and my my left iliac crest. For the next 12 months, I had to learn to walk again. I lived in a hospital. I lived at Sunnybrook, which means I didn't see my kids. And I remember later on, because they would come to see me as I was rehabbing and going through, trying to get back. They said to me, Dad, I don't want to see you here at your house. I want you to come home. And it broke me. But that motivation was the reason why I was able to get back up and train hard to learn to walk again and find a new way. But going back to your original question, that extreme wake-up call where God said, stop, focus on you, on family, on what's important. Because it's not about business and money and glam. It's about what really matters. And as I get older now, I realize, like yourself, that we get pulled back to God. And, the conversations I'm having now with, my circle, the people I'm bringing on my podcast, it's all about that feeling, that vibe, that we don't know what it is. But that's what's really important. It's getting back to God, to family, to spirituality, because those are the things that really matter. So God serves a big, big part of my day. I wear my cross proudly, no matter where I go. I don't care if you like it or not. And, in my household, we talk about family, we talk about religion, good, bad, and ugly. Because, there's goods and bads to everything. And I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, this is better than that. We're not talking about that. This is my beliefs. And it's what guides me. So it's a huge part of who I am, a huge part of my family, a huge part of our day-to-day.
It's beautiful. Just give me a second here.
Sorry, maybe I never told you that story.
You
right?
never told me that, so it's pretty heavy, bro. Like, honest to God, like, I've had a couple pretty bad motorcycle accidents. Never broke my. I didn't have to learn to walk yet, but I did have to reconstruct one shoulder and have my tricep reattached to the other. And sometimes I look at, especially the second one, I was with Dustin Woodhouse.
Oh,
and it happened in Squamish in the mountains. I got catapulted by a sapling, and I landed on a tree trunk just above my elbow pad. And I was head down. And then when I rolled over to try to get up, if I fell 2 feet further, it was a 200-foot drop to the bottom of the ravine. So, and you think about Mary, like, what are the chances are of me going, if I was going a kilometer faster, 2 kilometers an hour faster, if that tree trunk, that tree branch was an inch thicker, you never know. And it's funny because it's not like you have this giant push. It's just like this little flutter of energy that comes to me saying, you have to go back. You have to come back. And, and I ask for forgiveness for the fact I turned my back to God in this sense, because I was too busy worrying about money, women, and fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And then you're right. Like, I don't spend enough time with my family. And I think part of the lesson is that no matter how long you are away from it, you're always able to be accepted back.
Yes.